Phoenix, Arizona, July 2037. The desert sun was still burning hot when I stepped out of the hospital, stitches tight across my chest, a hospital bracelet still dangling from my wrist. I thought my parents would be waiting for me, maybe with the car running, maybe with a little comfort after weeks of recovery. But when I checked my phone, there was just one text from my mom. "Take a cab, we're busy, you'll manage." That was it. No punctuation, no apology, just indifference. So I rode home in the back of an Uber, half listening to the driver talk about his new boat while I tried not to cry. My fiancé, Lucas, had wanted to cancel his business trip to be with me, but I told him not to. I believed my parents could handle one simple task. Clearly, I was wrong. When I got home, I dropped my hospital bag, took a slow shower, and stared at the empty apartment walls. Something inside me whispered, "I need my keys back." Before surgery, my parents had insisted on holding them for safekeeping. "You'll be too out of it to worry about valuables," Dad had said, slipping the keyring off my counter. I didn't argue. Back then, I still wanted to believe their words meant protection, not possession. But when I showed up at their house, still pale from anesthesia, Mom was already waiting at the door like she had a cruel little secret to share. She smirked. "Thanks to your apartment, Ryan finally had the party he deserved. Champagne, DJ, the works, he earned it." For a moment, I just stared, trying to process the words. My apartment, his party. Dad leaned forward from the recliner, lowering the TV volume. "Don't look so shocked, Chloe. You'll buy another place someday, but your brother, he only gets one shot at life." The room tilted. My chest felt heavier than it had in the hospital. They had sold my apartment deed, the one Lucas spent years saving for, the one symbol of our future, to throw Ryan a party. And that was the exact second something inside me broke. I didn't scream, I didn't cry, I didn't even argue. Instead, I laughed. The sound startled even me. It cracked the air like glass. Mom's smirk faltered. "What's so funny, Chloe?" I met their eyes one by one. Mom, Dad, the self-satisfied kings and queens of sacrifice, always my sacrifice. And I thought, you really think you won? You really think you stripped me of the only thing that mattered? But the truth, they hadn't won anything. Because the deed they sold wasn't real. 2 weeks before surgery, I had already felt the storm brewing. My parents had always been like this, turning my milestones into Ryan's opportunities. I could see it in the way Mom's eyes lit up when she talked about my brother's potential, and in the way Dad sighed whenever Lucas and I planned something that didn't revolve around Ryan. So when they offered to keep my apartment keys and documents safe, my instinct screamed, instead of refusing, because in this family no is a declaration of war. I smiled and agreed. But the next morning I walked into a downtown law office and made copies. Not photocopies, not some flimsy paper. They looked exactly like the real deed down to the signature. The genuine contract. I locked it inside a private deposit box at the bank. The replica, that's what I handed to my parents with a smile. They thought I was naive. They thought I trusted them. The truth was I was setting the trap. Now, standing in their living room, watching them gloat about Ryan's luxury party paid for with my apartment, I didn't feel powerless anymore. I felt steady, sharp, prepared. They had just proven, without a shadow of doubt, everything I had always suspected. Given the chance, they would rob me blind to crown my brother king. And the best part, this time, the rope they thought was around my neck was already tightening around theirs. It didn't take long. Just 3 nights later, my phone lit up at midnight, buzzing across the nightstand like it was trying to escape. 5 missed calls from Mom, 3 from Dad, even 1 from Ryan. I let it ring until curiosity got the better of me. When I finally answered, Mom's voice hit like a whip. "Chloe, what did you do?" Her words tumbled fast, sharp, frantic. I could hear Dad shouting in the background, his voice breaking with anger. The buyer said the deed was worthless. They had it appraised. It's fake. Tell me this is some mistake. I sat up in bed, switching the phone to speaker. Lucas stirred beside me, frowning, but I held a finger to my lips. Fake. I repeated, calm, almost curious. That's strange. Maybe you should have asked before selling something that wasn't yours. Dad roared so loud I had to lower the volume. Do you have any idea what you've done? Do you know who we sold that to? My lips curved into a slow smile. Oh, I have a very good idea. The real question is, do you? For once, silence, the kind that said yes, they knew. Mom's voice cracked next, half pleading, half accusing. You tricked us, you set us up to fail your own family. I almost laughed. You begged me to hand it over, you didn't borrow it, you stole it, and then you sold it. That's not family, Mom, that's theft. Her breath hitched like I just slapped her. Dad tried again, this time desperate. Listen, we can't undo it, but you can fix it. We need the real papers, just for a little while. We'll pay you back, I swear. I leaned back against the headboard, letting the silence stretch until it hurt. Finally, I whispered, You've always told me Ryan deserved more. Well, congratulations. He just got you all exactly what you deserve. And I hung up. That night, lying in the dark with Lucas's steady breathing beside me, I felt something shift inside. For the first time in my life, their chaos wasn't mine to clean up. The weight had shifted. The mess was theirs, and I knew this was only the beginning. For a few days, I ignored their calls, let them sweat. But then the whispers started creeping in from every corner of the family. An aunt left a voicemail. Chloe, why are you being so cruel? Your parents are devastated. Don't you think they've suffered enough? A cousin sent a screenshot from the family group chat, Mom's message in sugary tones. Ryan needed our help. We sacrificed for him like any good parents would. Chloe doesn't understand the meaning of family. The comments rolled in little daggers wrapped in politeness. Prayers for healing. Don't hold grudges. Forgive, forgive, forgive. I sat there, phone glowing in my hands, the old guilt clawing at me like it always had. And then I snapped. My fingers flew over the screen, my heart hammering but my voice steady. Since everyone's so curious, here's the truth. While I was in the hospital, Mom and Dad sold the deed to my apartment to pay for Ryan's luxury party. They took $45,000 from a shady buyer. When the appraisal came back fake, they maxed out credit cards and took payday loans. That's why they're drowning in debt. That's why they might lose their house. This isn't my cruelty, it's their choices, their theft, their lies. I hit send. The group chat exploded. Cousins fired back instantly. They did what? Always knew Ryan was spoiled rotten, but this? They stole from you and then blamed you. Unreal. The tide turned in seconds. Years of favoritism, years of excuses, all of it dragged into the light in one messy, unstoppable thread. Mom tried to salvage it, posting some grand defense. We only did what parents must do, sacrifice for their children. We were helping Ryan's future. But it sank like a stone. No one bought it. The comments shredded her words apart. The golden image of my parents, pillars of sacrifice, protectors of family, was gone. All that was left was the punchline. And as I watched the chat blow up, my phone buzzing like a live wire, I realized something. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the scapegoat. They were, and I wasn't going to lift a single finger to save them. I knew the knock before I even opened the door. Frantic, uneven, the rhythm of panic. When I pulled it open, there they were. Mom, pale as if she hadn't slept in days. Dad, jaw locked tight, eyes bloodshot, and Ryan looking like he'd just crawled out of the wreckage of his own party. Mom's voice cracked first. Chloe, please, we need to talk. I leaned on the frame, cool as stone. That's never been true in this family, but go ahead. Dad took over, his tone rough, urgent. The man we sold the deed to, he wants his money back, right now. How much? I asked flatly. His voice broke on the number. 45,000. They hadn't even gotten full value. They'd sold the apartment for half of what Lucas paid, like it was some quick lottery ticket. Mom's hands trembled. We don't have it anymore. We spent it all. If we don't pay him back immediately, Chloe, this could get dangerous. Ryan finally spoke, voice hoarse. They're not the kind of people you want to owe money to. I almost laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was so perfectly them. They'd stolen from me, wasted it on Ryan, and now, when the consequences came knocking, they expected me to save them. Dad's eyes softened, desperate now, not angry. Just a loan. We'll pay you back once we refinance the house. I tilted my head. You don't get it. You sold what wasn't yours. You spent it. And now you want me to erase it. Mom's voice sharpened. We're your family. This isn't about blame anymore. It's about survival. I let the words hang in the air, then whispered. Family hasn't meant what you think it means for a very long time. And I closed the door in their faces. Their voices carried through the wood, pleading, angry, breaking, but I didn't unlock it again. For the first time, their storm wasn't mine to weather. It didn't take long for the fallout to hit. A week later, a cousin sent me a blurry photo, a bright for sale sign hammered into the front lawn of my parents' house. The caption underneath was brutal. Guess the Ramirez Palace isn't untouchable after all. Then came the calls from relatives. Some were sharp with judgment, others dripping with fake pity. Chloe, how could you do this to them? They're about to lose everything. Don't you feel guilty? I didn't. Not one bit. Because the truth was simple. They had destroyed themselves. Maxed out credit cards, payday loans, the failed refinance. Their entire perfect reputation crumbled in a matter of weeks. And Ryan, the so-called star of the family, his Miami party ended the way I always knew it would. His girlfriend dumped him, his business deal collapsed, and he slunk back home, broke and bitter. Now all three of them were crammed inside a rented 2-bedroom on the edge of town, pretending it was temporary. Everyone knew better. Meanwhile, my life kept moving forward. 2 months later, I stood at the altar. Lucas held my hands, steady and certain, while the ring on my finger caught the light. Not a fake, not a copy, the real thing. As I looked out at the faces gathered, I saw love, respect, and loyalty. I didn't see my parents. I didn't see Ryan. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel like I was missing anything. The real breaking point wasn't losing a house or money or reputation. It was this: they lost me. And I finally realized I was never theirs to begin with. 1 year later, everything had changed. My belly was round with life, 8 months along. Lucas was nesting in his own way, researching strollers like he was preparing for trial, assembling cribs with the focus of a surgeon. Our apartment felt warm, steady, and ours. And that's when the messages started again. First, Mom. We want to see the baby. We'll be good grandparents. Let's put the past behind us. Then Dad. Think about the child. Don't punish us forever. Finally, Ryan, still entitled even in ruin. This isn't about you anymore. The baby deserves a family. I laughed out loud. The idea of Ryan lecturing me about family was almost comical, like a wolf trying to teach loyalty. I stayed silent until the whispers started again. Aunts, uncles, cousins flooding my phone. Why are you being so cruel? They lost their house, their dignity. Haven't they suffered enough? I was tired of carrying their story like it was mine. So late one night, swollen ankles and all, I opened the family group chat. My hands shook, but not from fear. I typed, "Since you all want the truth, here it is. Last year, while I was recovering in the hospital, my parents sold the deed to my apartment to fund Ryan's party. They took $45,000 from a shady buyer. When the deed turned out fake, they maxed out credit cards and payday loans. That's why they lost their house. Not because of me, because of their own choices." I hit send. The silence lasted 3 full minutes. Then the dam broke. They did what? I always knew Ryan was spoiled, but this. "Chloe, I'm sorry, we never knew the truth." Screenshots flew, emojis stacked. The tide turned, crushing them in a way my silence never could. Mom tried one last defense. "We did what parents must sacrifice for family." but it sank instantly, drowned beneath everyone else's disgust. The golden mask they'd worn for decades was shattered. I set my phone down, leaned back, and let out a breath I'd been holding for years. They wanted me trapped in their cycle of guilt and manipulation forever. But now, they were trapped in the truth. I had my home, my husband, soon my child, and them, they had each other. 3 people under one shabby rental roof, clinging to the ruins of a family that never really existed. The resolution wasn't revenge. It wasn't even justice. It was freedom, because at last I was free.